All right. If everybody can come on and take your seats, we're going to get started. Thanks so much. For those of you in the back, come on up. Come on up. It'll be, for everyone that's up here pitching, it's always nicer to have people up close where they can see them. So we'd love it if you could all come and help fill in some of the chairs. But thank you all for joining us. I'm Josh Baer, and this is the Longhorn Startup Demo Day. So thanks all for coming. So this class is two parts, as some of you may have heard in the videos that we're just playing. We have the seminar in the fall and the lab in the spring. So this is the lab. We've been doing this for about a dozen years, so quite a long time. More than 1,000 students have gone through here, and dozens of startups that have gone on to raise many, tens of millions of dollars. And you're gonna get to see 12 of them here tonight, or I think 11. We may have lost one. Do we have a video for the missing one? All right, we will see 12. We have one COVID casualty that will be on video. But for those of you that are students here, raise your hand if you're a student at UT. All right, awesome. And we've got people watching online as well. For those of you that are students, the next opportunity to be part of this is to take the Longhorn Startup Seminar, which is next fall. And the way that it's designed, we've got course numbers across computer science, engineering, fine arts, communications, and management. Anybody from any school can sign up for the CS component. So it's really meant to be open to everybody to be able to take part in and to join in on. So we'd love to have anybody come be part of it. And during that, basically every week you get incredible speakers coming in and sharing their stories and telling about what they're working on. And also we kick off every week with Open Pitch Pizza, which is free pizza and a chance for anybody on campus to come pitch their ideas and get feedback and tell us what they're working on. And so part of what we're trying to do with that is really just meet everybody on campus that's working on really interesting things. And then in the spring now we have the lab, and this is for students at UT, undergrad and grad, generally more undergrad, but we get a little grad students in there mixed in as well. We've got some this semester who have a startup they're really working on. They've actually built something. There's people using it. It's more than just an idea, and that's what you're going to see tonight. So really excited to show those all to you. So let's see if my clicker's going. There we go. So during the semester, this is the first semester we did it here at Capital Factory. We've always done it on campus, but we really enjoyed doing it here. And so every week we'd meet here Thursday nights. And the first thing, the students get up and they pitch their startup. They practiced every week the whole semester, and I'm pretty proud of where they got, and you'll see what we get tonight. And then they give an update on what they've been working on, what they've accomplished over the past week, what their goals are for the coming week, and they're asked for help, what they need. And then also, at every class, we have lead mentors and guest mentors. There are about 20 lead mentors who are all founders and mentors here at Capital Factory who come in every week for the whole semester. It's actually a really big time commitment. It's really impressive. And they meet with the startups each week, and they try to help them figure out what they should be focused on, what they should do next. And then we also have guest mentors come in, people like Ritesh up there, or Carter Cunningham, who's in the previous picture, who are also great founders and CEOs who come in one week. So every week there's guests coming in as well to match them up with and for them to meet with, and all different people trying to help connect them in and help them get moving forward. So big thank you in particular to all of our lead mentors. They're the ones that come in every week. If you don't mind giving them a big round of applause. I know we got a lot of them here tonight. But it's a really big time commitment, and it means a lot to all of the students, I know, but I know that they all really enjoy doing it too. So thank you to all the lead mentors. And then at the end, this is towards the end, they have one more class. At the end, they get to come pitch at Demo Day, to pitch to all of you, and pitch to investors, and pitch to their peers, and show you all they've been working on. So really excited to share that with you today. And one of the startups that pitches today is going to walk away with a $25,000 investment prize. So that's what you'll wait to see as well. And you're going to hear this more, I know, but I saw somebody walk in here with a really big check. So I think this is a big day. There's other things going on at UT today, and I think there's already one startup walking in with a $10,000 check. So it's a big day. There's a lot going on. Who knows what will happen. But first, before we get into that, I'm going to have a chat with a good friend of mine, Bill Perkins, who's joining us today. Oops, our music didn't quite go. Let's see. Try that one again. There we go. So Bill, come on up. Thank you. All right, so thanks for joining us, Bill. Really glad you could be here. Did you come in today from Houston?
Yeah, came
Awesome.
down today.
So
It's
thank you
great,
coming
to be here.
coming here
Love what
just
you're
for
doing
us.
here.
Thank you
Yes.
so much. But I've gotten to know Bill over the past year or so, as he recently has been spending a lot of time in Austin as well. And we're so glad to have you here today. Bill is there's no way I could cover all the things. Like, you're like a famous poker player, an author, a hedge fund manager, an entrepreneur, an investor, a pretty good wake surfer. I don't know, like what am I missing?
I like to goof off and travel.
And he has a lot of fun doing all of that too,
Yeah.
which I've had a lot of fun with him. So super glad to have you here tonight. We're not going to be able to talk about all of it, but I wanted to start with your book, Die with Zero, which is a very provocative name, kind of like my quit your job slogan. But it's something that's actually, as you know, had a really big impact on me personally over my life over the past year. And it's something I'm really excited to share with everybody else here. So tell us, first, even before what it is, why did you write this book, Die with Zero?
I wrote the book to kind of save my life. So since I was broke, first going into the working world and thinking about what does it all mean, right? Like, you're young, you want to get rich, you want to get the girls or whatever it is, you want to get the opposite sex. And a lot of people are like, I want to be rich by X, or I want to have X before 30. And for me, I was like, well, why before 30? What does that mean? Why not before 90, right? And the obvious answer is like, you don't see dudes in a club picking up girls. And, the way my small brain worked back then, right? Like, the money didn't have a use at 90, right? I was like, well, does it have a use at 75, at 65, et cetera? And so what I was, wrestling with was, how does the utility of money, the ability to convert it into the experiences I want to have, because I wasn't working for free, either on accident or on purpose, my ability to convert that into experiences I wanted to have changed over time, right? Such that at certain point, like the day before I die, working another day makes no sense, right? Like, it's like trying to approach the speed of light. It just goes up infinite, right? Like the resistance to actually get a positive experience out of a day of work. And so I realized that there's this curve associated with it, right? Like, when I'm a baby, the money's useless. The day before I die, the money's useless, right? And somewhere in between, there's this maximum utility of the money. And so it really hit me that, okay, if it has a curve and there's a maximum utility of money, then therefore my peak net worth isn't really a number, it's a date. It's a day in my life. Where at that point, my net worth should not be going up, because basically I'm pushing gratification further and further in time, of which I cannot actually get the gratification, right? Like, $150,000 at 91 is like $20 at 30, right? On your deathbed. And so I was trying to build a computer program to tell me exactly how much to spend each day in my life, so I can die exactly with zero and have this perfect experience, right? Not waste my life. Like, a lot of people fear running out of money. That's not my fear. I was broke and I was having a great time broke. What I feared was wasting my life. And so I couldn't write this program because there's too many inputs. There's just not enough computing power or computers that exist that can do that, and you'd have garbage in, garbage out. But I still wrestled with this, argued with friends, talked about it for 5 years, really thought about it, was applying some of the principles. And I was at this is a long story, damn it. But I go to one of these doctors, Lifespan, and they basically try and give you the best health span for the longest time. They try and keep you alive forever, and while you're alive, they try and keep you moving around and enjoying your life. And they do all kinds of blood work and diagnostics and all this other kind of stuff, and they do a psychological exam, and they ask you a bunch of questions. And one of the questions was, do you fear running out of money? And I answered the question, well, I hope I run out of money. And the doctor looks at me like kind of crazy, and I gave him the big long spiel. And he goes, you have to write a book. And there's many people who write books. Nobody's ever answered this question this way. And this has a lot of value to it, what you're saying. And I thought about it. I said, he's right. I got to get these thoughts and ideas into a coherent mental model so that I can follow it myself. right? And while I'm writing it for myself, I'll be able to help other people optimize their life. And that's why I wrote the book.
And that's why they wrote the book. And we have a whole bunch of the books right here. So you're all welcome to grab a book, and Bill will maybe even sign a book.
I'll sign a book.
Yeah. And so the book, so I'm 46. I've got 3 kids. They're just becoming teenagers. And, we just went through a pretty crazy couple of years with COVID and lots of other things changing in the world, and thinking about priorities and thinking about, a lot of uncertainty, right? Not knowing what was going to happen. And wow, this whole book and meeting you came at such a kind of like influential time for me, where my whole perspective changed. I suddenly was like, wait, what am I saving money for? Like,
Right.
Now's it. Like, shouldn't I be having like the most fun I can now? I'm working the hardest I can right now. My kids are at the time when like I can do the most things with them. Like,
what you said is, what am I saving money for? So you said it like almost like, I think people probably got the reaction of like, oh, go party, light your money on fire. But it's really a deeper question. Why are you saving money? What is the experience you're attaching to saving that money? Like, the first thing is like, I want to survive, I want a house, and I want food, and I don't want to be on the streets. But most people here are past operating on a need basis. We operate on a want basis, whether you realize it or not. And so what are the things I want with that money that I'm attaching to? And more importantly, what are the things I want when? When is just as important as what? Probably more important. Go ahead, sorry.
No, you're doing it. I mean,
just to cut in, like you said that, like, oh, what am I saving money for? And it's like, that's like the quintessential question.
Right. Because as you've said to me, you can have everything you want in life.
Yeah, but you got to get the order right.
You got to get it, but you have to do it at the right time.
You have to do it at the right time. I tell people, it's not in the book, but I tell people life is like Tetris. It's kind of like if you were in heaven and you go to God, you're like, I want to have these experiences. I want to ski 10,000 or 500 times. I want to go to the movies. I want to do this. I want to have sex 30,000 times. I want to blah, blah, blah. I want to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. I want to travel. I want to go to Italy or whatever. And God goes, here's your bucket of experiences. Take them all. But here's the trick. You got to get the order right. Because if you don't get the order right, you won't get to do all those things, right? So people who save their going out to club and partying days after they get married and have 3 kids, well, those club dollars are kind of useless, right? You don't get to go to the club, right? Because your priorities have changed, right? And so people that like, oh, I want to spend a lot of time with my kids or whatever and have all these touches, etc., better not wait until they're teenagers. They don't want to know you. You know what I mean? Like, they just don't want to know you anymore, right? And so there's a lot of dynamic decisions and dynamic decisions that affect when you should have these experiences, when that optimal time is. And then there's this decay, maturity, plateau, and decay of your body, mind, etc., that also dictates when the optimal time to have certain experiences are. And so not getting that order right, like if you were back in heaven, you got to zoom back up and be like, oh shit, I'm off model. I'm not going to get the high score that I possibly could out of my life because I lived on autopilot and I just thought, I'm going to save until I'm 65 and then my life is going to be like a Carnival cruise and I'm going to be happy. That's bullshit. It's not true.
Are you getting the high score in your life? Like,
so
I want the high score.
I want the high score. And so that's why I wrote the book. And hopefully people that read the book can apply their values and their principles and get the high score out of their life.
So we're here with quite a few students who are generalizing at the beginnings of their careers and their lives. Right. So this is it. What's the big advice? What's the takeaway before they read the book? Obviously read the book.
I think one of the things is that like life is discovery. You don't know what you want from cradle to grave, right? You actually discover what you want, right? And so one of the things I recommend in the book is breaking your life up in periods and optimizing each period so that the sum of the optimizations are there. So if you break it up in 3-year, 5-year, or like my grad school years or my first career years, there are certain experiences that belong in that time period, and they don't move easily to the next time period, or they don't move at all, right? Whether they cost money or not. And so what I advise people to do is like take out a sheet of paper, break up your life in periods, look at what experiences you want to have in your life, right? Hedonistic, altruistic, I'm using experience very broadly. And start moving them around and see what happens there, right? one of the things that happened to me when I was in college that really pissed me off about myself was just when I was about to finally graduate, and I barely graduated, there was this article like 50 things to do before you leave college at the University of Iowa. And I was like, why the fuck did they write this 4 years ago? It's too late. There were like 2 things I could do, right? And I was like, this would have been a really great college experience had I done this in the beginning, right? And I started to think like, wow, there was so much of this time period that I let slip by and waste by being on autopilot and not really being connected with what I wanted out of this time period. So with people who are younger, I would say really get in touch with these periods in your life, break them up however you want, and start thinking about what you really want out of that time period that only will be possible in that time period and that is optimal in that time period.
Great. Well, my last question is there one thing that you like, wow, this is the thing I should have done, but I didn't?
I mean, I wrote about it in the book. When I was a young screen clerk on the New York Mercantile Exchange floor, I was like assistant peon, making like $16,000 a year.
The trip?
Yeah.
I remember.
and I drove a limo at night to make ends meet. The boss's limo driver quit, and I was like, I'll drive the limo. Like, I'll do anything. You know what I mean? Like, I'll sweep the floors, I'll do whatever to try and get ahead and make money. So my friend Jason Rufo was borrowing money from a loan shark to go backpacking through Europe on vacation for like more than 2 weeks. I'm like, you are a fucking idiot. Like, what are you doing? And blah, 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 and blah, the interest rate and this and that and the other thing. And he's like, oh, you can go and we could do this and whatever. And you come back and, he had this whole scheme. So he goes, comes back, has a trip of a lifetime. Meets all these foreign people are coming to our pizza oven of an apartment, spent a night from Europe. He has this adventure of a lifetime, and I'm grinding away on the floor. And, time goes by. So I'm like, well, I'll do this later when I have money or whatever. And it's just a totally different experience. The time to go backpacking through Europe and staying in hostels and meeting people randomly on chance or whatever was then. I could never go back, and I've regretted it my whole life. Nothing would have changed. He was, as we went on our career trajectory, he was just as rich as I was the next 3 years, et cetera. He took this daring risk. He knew what he wanted. He had the experience he wanted to have in the time period that he wanted to have. I actually wanted to have that experience, but was too chicken shit or didn't think about it in big picture, and it's gone. It's gone. And he's in the book. We talk about it. It's like, how much would I have to pay you now to eliminate that experience in your life? Just erase it, take it away, it never happened. It's far greater than the interest rate he paid. It's like a no number type number, right? And so it just goes to show you that certain experiences belong in certain time buckets. And if you're in touch with what you want and not living on autopilot, you'll have a richer and fuller life. I am less interesting because I didn't go on to that trip. I have less friends because I didn't go on that trip. I have less of what I really wanted to do in life because I didn't go on that trip. And so that's one of my bigger regrets of not doing something at that time.
Fortunately, he has lots of friends.
Yes.
And other good things going on. But so what about you? What are any questions maybe from the class to start? You guys have any? Any questions from the audience?
Advice for someone graduating from college?
I think it's a version of the same. I think I'll go a little bit deeper. Is that coming out of college is maximum risk time. I'm a big fan of when you're younger and have very little to lose, taking as much risk as you can stand, and then add a little bit more. So it's as much as you possibly can stand and add a little bit more. Now, that might be emotional. That might be career-wise. That might be moving to a location you don't know anybody to go chase this dream or that dream. But, you can really fall on your face and then be president of the United States of America like Barack Obama, who was doing drugs and crack. He wrote about it. I'm not disparaging Barack Obama. And then he's president of the United States of America, So, it just goes to show that you can recover from a lot at that time. Like you can really fall flat on your face for 2 years, go to med school, and be a leading, brain surgeon, right? And so you have such an asymmetric risk-reward ratio at a younger age. It really needs to be taken advantage of.
Yeah, I was trying to do the time bucket exercise, and everything I want to do, I just put into my 20s bucket. I'm curious, like, for your 50s, your 60s, what are the events that you really want to get done?
Yeah, so
And just to repeat, the question was, what are the events for later in your life, for your 50s and 60s? All the things he could think of were things he wanted to do in his 20s.
So I want to say that even though I like wrote the book, doing the time bucketing thing was very, very hard, right? You had so much culture and so much, I'm just focused on tomorrow and next week, et cetera. And so I would suggest keep coming back to it and break it up in categories. What I want to happen spiritually, economically, travel, leisure, family, friends, all these experiences of whatever it is, hedonistic, altruistic, any kind of category, and start throwing them in there. And so I remember doing it, and I was like, holy shit, my 60 to 65 bucket is what doesn't, I'm dead, I guess. There's nothing in there. I want nothing. Spend all of my money now. But what I found out is that like a real life example with money, and I'll do one without money, that got moved, things that got moved around, was I went on a trip and I discovered, I got convinced to go on a trip on a train, like training, like on the Orient Express. And I was like, I don't want to go on Orient Express. I hate wearing fucking suits. It's a bunch of old stuffy people on a train. And I'm stuck and whatever. And they're like, no, you're going to like it. You're going to see the countryside. I'm like, okay. So I went reluctantly. Went on it. Fucking loved it. I was like, yo, this is the bomb, dude. You can see stuff you can't see. There's no roads. No planes fly low. All these beautiful houses. I can read. The bar car is rocking. Met some nice people. It was like really this social thing. And I was like, this is awesome. And so when I was doing something, I was like, we're going to go training. We're going to take this Peru train. I found that there's this whole training society I discovered, like trains through Africa, and then you get off and do safari, trains through Canada, and, these Lux stuff. And I was like, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And then I thought about it, and I was like, wait a minute. I can sit my ass on a train when I'm 70. I can't walk the streets of Paris as far when I'm 70. I can barely do it as much as now that I'm 53, of when I was 45 and I was in Paris, right? Not that I can't walk the streets, but I used to walk 7 miles a day with a backpack on to leisure learning class, and it was enjoyable. Now if I walk 5 miles, it's not enjoyable. So when I go to Paris, I get less of Paris for the same dollar, right? And so what I decided to do when we were like planning this out was like, these train trips need to go forward in future, and these other type of trips or other experiences need to come back. And so I can't tell you what to put in your 50s bucket. It depends on what you like. Like, I like playing chess or whatever. Like, maybe the chess tournament needs to go forward and back, depending on mental state. But as you keep coming back to it, you'll start moving it around so you get your Tetris game right.
Great question. Abigail?
Where does regret fit into all of this? You realize a time for something has passed, and you might not be able to get it back.
It happens often. I started way back when my eyesight was better. I used to read like 2 books at a time, but I used to always like to read what 100-year-old people's regrets were. And just by and large, every single regret was something they didn't do or a risk they didn't take, right? And so this whole book, like, I don't know if there's some programmers or poker players in here. This book is really a counterfactual regret minimization algorithm for your life. And it's solving for net fulfillment, right? So the chess algorithms and the poker algorithms, they solve for checkmate or winning the most money, right? What move has the highest probability of me not having future regret? And that leads to checkmate or winning the game, right? This one is solving for net fulfillment, right? And the variables are your wealth, your health, and your time, right? And so I think for me personally, regret happens when I don't do my best. So every period in my life when I didn't do my best or when I was on autopilot, that's kind of like the underlying thing of, wow, I regret that. So if I wasn't patient, I lost my temper with somebody. I didn't do my best. When I went to college and I didn't apply myself, I didn't do my best, right? When I was on autopilot and just went through the motions and, didn't do the college experience right, that's when the regret hits it, right? And it's easy to not do your best when you are on autopilot, and the default mode network of our brains is awesome. Like I drive my car and it gets me home and I'm like, I don't even remember how I got home, right? Or, you do certain things and it allows you to be good at certain things and habits, but it also robs you of being alive and having that experience. So that's how I think you don't do your best. You lose your awareness and you have periods of your life go by and you just like, oh shit, it's gone. I regret.
So where do you think the even ground between chronological order is and dopamine getting stuck into finding dopamine hits of like experiences or things that, in such a dopamine crazed world?
So question was, how did the experiences not become a drug?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't like...
Is that a good drug?
Yeah, I think it's a good drug. But, when I use experiences, I don't mean like everything is a daredevil situation, right? Like one of the experiences I want to have, and the other thing, like moving in order, is that my daughters, Houston is not really the most friendly walking city, and a lot of places aren't, right? So the kids are scattered over, and they want to drive them everywhere. And I come from a cultural learning of like, my parents never did that shit. We had to blah, blah, blah. Rode the bus, blah, 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 blah. It's a bunch of bullshit, right? It's just, I mean, my kids could go, logically, Dad, you could take this all the way back to the cave days, and why don't we live in a fucking cave, right? Like, our ancestors live in a cave, right? And so they don't do that. But I realized that one of the experiences I want to have, and I'm using it broadly, is a relationship with my daughter and a lot of touches with them. And I did the math. I sat down, I was off autopilot, and I'm like, holy shit. They barely want to know me now. And when they get to college, I'm going to see them less and less and less and less. And so I instantly went from 90% no, I'm not driving you to all these places, to 90% yes, I will always drive you just to have those touches, right? And so I don't think it's, the dopamine hit is not this excitement like, I'm addicted to it. It's, am I getting what I want out of this ride called life, right? It's also like I have my CFO, right? Like I have KPIs for my net fulfillment. A lot of people have KPIs for their business, like, oh, what's the ratio and the rent and the yield, right, or whatever. But I'm like, fuck that. Those KPIs don't mean shit to me. The most important KPI to me is my net fulfillment KPIs. Have I traveled enough? Have I given enough to these charities that I believe in? Have I spent enough time with this person that I love? Have I said enough I love yous? Have I seen my friends enough? These KPIs, right? I will go to my CFO. How much did I make last year? What was my charitable donations? Holy shit, I'm behind. Let's go. What was my travel bill last year? I'm doing something wrong. I'm not traveling enough for my ratios, right? Because I know that's what fulfills me. I know those charitable things fulfill me. I know that I love yous, I fulfill me. I know the time I spend with my friends fulfill me, right? And so it's not necessarily a dopamine hit. It's really like being in touch with what you want out of this ride called life and making sure that you get them.
By the way, that was another great piece of advice that has affected me as well. My kids are a little bit younger, so I get to the benefit of getting to hear what you say and then go do it earlier on. But exactly that thing, the time with the kids in the car, it's the only time my kids want to talk. And they just unload. They just as soon as you get, their mouths just start going. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe how much they want to talk to me. Just because we're stuck in the car together.
Oh, the best is when you get their friends. You're like an Uber driver. They'll spill all the beans.
Yeah,
like you don't
saying
even
everything.
exist. You're like,
yeah.
Good gossip. Good gossip.
Oh yeah, totally. So anyway, I've taken that one to heart, and it's now I volunteer.
I think you had a question, or did somebody?
Yeah, so what was the moment like? The moment where you felt like, I'm actualizing, this is my path, I'm actually doing it. I'm on the path to happiness, all the bullshit's gone, I'm actually doing the things that I need to be doing, and all the KPIs that don't make any sense or don't matter.
Have you made it? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't think I'll ever get there. I think it's like we're humans, right? Like unfortunately, I don't get to be, the chess algorithm and get it right, and there's always friction. But, my hypothesis is that being awareness and striving towards perfection minimizes waste, and therefore my fulfillment will be higher. Will I ever get to, that's my 7 o'clock alarm. That's something also I do. So that alarm goes off every time, and I pay attention to my fiance. I stop work, I stop whatever, and 7 o'clock, it's just a prompt because no behavior happens without a prompt. Internal prompts are not that reliable. And so I have this alarm that goes off and says, pay attention to Lara.
Lara, we owe you one.
Yeah, so that's the battle I have, right? So I have help. I use my technology for my help. I help doing or whatever. And so like a lot of people, you know, if you get to the end of the book, I'll give it away.
We're giving away the book anyway.
Yeah, we're giving away the book anyway. So I mean, it's kind of like, listen, people don't stop going to church because they're never going to be like Jesus or Moses or the Buddha or whatever their religion is, right? They strive for perfection and they try and get better, and therefore they have a better life according to their values, right? And so I'm never going to get there. I'm just going to have a much more fulfilling life than otherwise.
So on the flip side of that, we know that startups take a while, not everything's an overnight success. How do you tell them to learn out, these aren't going to work? How do you put that script on yourself to kind of deal with those kind of times that they are difficult?
I mean, you know, I think the things like when things are hard or going wrong or I'm going bust and I've been rich, got broke, got rich again, got broke, almost broke, and then, you know what I mean? Like the up and down, especially as traders, right? Like we have many, many bad days, right? Poker days, whatever, girlfriend breaks your heart, etc. I've become grateful for the ride. I think like living in gratitude is it. And you know, I tell people like when I hit the grave, I want scars. I do not want the cookie cutter bullshit, safe, bubblicious life, right? I want the risk-filled, test my boundaries, had a lot of fun, touch the hot stove life, right? And so when that happens, I realize it's part of the process and I'm learning and I get it. And I think, you know, a lot of people, I'm going to talk to like back to your question too. About advice is lose the fear, right? Lose the fear. And a lot of people are not afraid of losing money. A lot of people are afraid of what their friends will think, their mother will think, their peers will think, they themselves will think if they fail. I'm telling you, it's not the money. Anybody in here can go get a $60,000 to $100,000 a year job like that, okay? So you're not going to go broke no matter what right now in this economy. So what is holding people back from taking those chances? It's like, oh, you tried and you failed or whatever. And so many people is, why don't you have that fear? It's like, well, I enjoy the ride and I want to have this life and I want to experiment. And I realize that losing is part of it. Like failure is great as long as it's not catastrophic, right? You can use failure as a great teacher as long as it's not catastrophic, right? And the other part, what's holding you back from failing usually is the opinion of others, not the actual result. And I don't have the data to empirically prove this, but every single friend or every single person I've talked to, that's what really holds them back. That's what prevents them from saying, I love you first. That fear of rejection, that fear of looking like a fool. And somebody asked me, how did I get that? And I guess not everybody's going to get, you're going to have to get it from somewhere, but not everybody's going to get what it is. I told them, I said, listen, I grew up in Jersey City, New Jersey, a kid of the 70s. My parents were, you know, my dad was born in the 30s, right? And so we have a different history and understanding of people the way they looked at us. And I said, one of the benefits of racism and people and stereotyping and people talking about you is that you don't give a shit. You've heard it your whole goddamn life, right? It was on TV, it was rampant, it was institutionalized, etc. So you don't give a shit what people think. And that rubs off because I am not afraid to look like a complete fucking idiot, right? But that means I will try things that you will never fucking try. Never. A lot, not saying you in general, but I'm just saying you, the royal you. Can I use the royal you? The royal you, they'll never fucking try. So when I smack the fucking ball out of the park, you got no chance because you wouldn't even step into the fucking arena because you were scared to look like a fucking idiot. And I'm okay looking like an idiot because people have called me worse or thought I was worse without even knowing me. And so somewhere, somehow, I got lucky. You know what I mean? I got lucky with those. Oh. That's like, hey, you did not pay attention to Lara. I'm like completely, where is Lara? Okay. You know, I got lucky and I got that, but you're going to have to find that for yourself, right? That I don't give a shit. I want to get the most out of life. I'm gonna go with this ride. I'm gonna deal with the failure. I'm gonna learn for it, and I'm gonna move on. And that's how I deal with it, and that's how I deal with bad times, etc.
All right, we got time for maybe one or two more questions. Jill?
So something you talked about was the inspiration for the book is when you're at a longevity doctor and kind of talking about biohacking. I see you have the Whoop on as well.
Yeah.
What would your advice to your younger self be about like how to optimize your health for like even a better life? I think we all kind of think about it a little bit later on in life and we have to, not maybe can do it more proactively.
Yeah, I could say something like take better care of your knees or something like that. But the real thing is like it's a case of doing your best, right? There are athletic events that I cannot do now. There are things I could have done earlier, et cetera, that I just didn't do, right? And I was just like, there's a balance. Like if I wasn't on autopilot, I wouldn't, I would have found this balance that would have been right for me. And so I would have done better in that category of health, right? One thing humans are very, very bad at is net present value and future value. Like we can do it on a spreadsheet and we can do it economics or whatever, but like people don't realize that if you just eat not even a full bag of chips, which is 200 calories a day, over 2 years, that's 41 pounds. If you're 200 pounds or less, you're obese in 2 years, right? Even with the additional weight, adjusting for that, maybe 35 pounds, you're obese in 2 years, right? Small, just chips, right? And you develop these habits, and you just go on autopilot. And vice versa, all the habits, smoking or whatever, like the one cigarette doesn't kill you, it's the accumulation of radiation from the polonium and the tar and whatever, right? And so people don't get that. Like if I just say, put a gun in your face, to run or duck or whatever, or you know what I mean? Or here's some polonium and I throw it at you, you're gonna duck, right? But like you will not get the NPV of your decisions correct. You will not get the future present value of your decisions correct, right? And so it really takes, especially with health, a lot of interference with your prefrontal cortex to think about these things and to break habits, right? And one of the things I would tell myself is design your life to win in health. Because it's not about necessarily, the design is probably more important than the motivation, right? A lot of books focus on, or talks of the guys like motivation. But if you look at any kind of technology firm or what they do, any kind of tech thing, it's all about ability, about making it easier, right? So it's prompts and making it easier, right? If I was just like, I'm going to be better and I'm going to pay attention to you, Lara, blah, 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 like that might work. And I'm super motivated, but my internal prompts suck, et cetera. So I design it and I have a prompt. Now I look like a fucking loving superhero. You know what I mean? Because I designed it right. And so I would take that same thing with health and like, let's not lose the snacks. Don't put them in here. You're designing for failure. Do X, Y, and Z and design for a better, healthy life. That's what I would say to myself.
One more question. It's one of the things I'm very very adamant about is like you don't know what you fucking want, you discover what you want, right? And so there is a element of potluck in the experiences, right? Because I didn't know I liked training, and then all of a sudden I discovered I like training, right? Like nobody comes out of the womb and goes, I hate onions, I like chocolate, I like pizza, I don't like raspberries, blah blah blah, right? Like you interact with the world in this organic spacesuit, right? And then you discover what you like, and then that drags you into other experiences, and it compounds. And so, I think, gosh, what's the guy's name? He's a programmer, a designer, but he said art is a discovery process, right? It's a discovery feedback loop, and the closer you are to that feedback, the better the art, the better the process. And so he was writing a program that, as you coded, a gaming program, you actually saw what the character did in the gaming so that the feedback loop was closer than instead of running it, compiling it, seeing it, whatever, but he was actually able to see it. I think I want to remember his name, but he's brilliant. Worry Dream, I think he's at Worry Dream on Twitter. But I thoroughly agree with that. Like, creativity is discovery,
right? And so I leave a significant piece in my life for potluck and discovery. I remember my friend Oliver Alma used to have a clerk's trip, and they would spin the globe, and they'd pick a point, and he would take his clerks to go. And one trip, I was like, I'm going. And they spun the globe, and we went to Prague. We flew for like all night, stayed up all night, got on a tour bus, bunch of guys, clerks, running around on a tour bus, partying in Prague, going to the casino, whatever, and fell in love with Prague, right? But that was completely random for me at that age to go do it, and it was discovery. And that was a creative process. Some of it may be showing up to this that, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't be like, hey, I'm gonna come up to UT, and I meet people, and I discover. And so that's where my creativity comes from. And even if I was drawing something, I put the brush on the page, and I move it, and I like the curve, and I do this, and whatever. And so I firmly believe that creativity is discovery. And I leave space for that.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure we could keep going longer, but we do have a whole
We
bunch of
got some-
pitches.
we got some stuff to see.
pitches to see. Thank you, Bill, for coming to join us tonight. Let's give him a big round of applause.
Thank you. Thanks.
And don't go too far, because we have the pitches coming right up. But I do want to share one more thing with you, and I think you've seen one of these before, but I have a special one for you, which is our Capital Factory Challenge coin. And it's got our Capital Factory logo on one side, and this one you only get when you come speak here. It's the first one we ever made, and it says at the top of it, the center of gravity for entrepreneurs in Texas. It's got the big blue robot that you see up there, and then at the bottom, as so appropriately named, presented for excellence. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks for the questions.
We're going to go right into the pitches. So hope you guys are all ready. But we've got 12 companies ready to go. We're going to move these chairs, and we're just a second. The first one's going to be Galapagos Labs. Let's see, wait, if we get this music going. All right, we're going to get started. Everybody come on back in and get going.
Appreciate it. All right, everyone. My name is Kevin Jacob, and allow me to introduce you to our company, Galapagos Labs. So as the song was saying, California love. And there's a lot to love about California. It has a rich history. So let's take a dive into that, shall we? So the history of California, it's pretty cool. In 1840, there was something that happened there. You probably have heard of it before, called the California Gold Rush. People went all across the country rushing for the hopes of finding gold. However, only less than 3% of them ever actually struck it rich or struck gold at all. It's not a very profitable endeavor to throw your life savings and go into it. However, there were some people who did make it reach. The suppliers made fortunes, millionaire merchants, as we like to call them. They sold jeans, shovels, mining pickaxes, any gear to the miners, and then they were able to make lots of fortunes, a very profitable business for them. So when the dust settled, now this is 2022, and it's several years later, but there's a new type of gold, digital gold, cryptocurrency, and that's what we're selling. We're selling shovels to the miners of cryptocurrency. Where Icy Turtles was our first NFT, and we were able to make over $300,000 in less than 30 seconds selling it. We were there. We put in the effort to mine for that gold, and it was not easy. It was not that fun of a process, but we did it. We struck gold, and now we're here to help you guys do it too. We did it on something called ICP, or Internet Computer Protocol. Now, you guys might not have heard of it. It's not like Ethereum or Solana, but it's new. It's up and coming. In less than a year, it already has over 700,000 blocks mined. Bitcoin has less than 700 million, sorry. And Ethereum, which is the main one for NFTs, has only over 100 million. So this is very up and coming, very useful. And it's able to run Web3 or completely decentralized apps at Web 2 speed. So you don't need AWS, you don't need Azure, Microsoft. You can run it completely decentralized. And there's very little infrastructure. Now, that poses a problem. There's no easy way to list or make your NFTs. The main source of competition right now is Entropot, and it's a slow, tedious, and obscure process. There's no OpenSea platform on ICP. All the smart contracts have to be made manually. That is until our product, Hatch Market, the first marketplace on ICP that is made for creators. We solve these problems with Hatch. Hatch provides a fast, intuitive, and customizable process to create your own NFT collections without having to deal with code and smart contracts. We're basically like OpenSea. All of them are made generatively and programmatically, and according to your own specifications. So you don't have to go through the trouble of coding and manually putting all this effort to launch your NFT collection. You can focus on what matters to you, your art and your community. So turtles are slow, but launching NFTs doesn't have to be, and it is easy to launch with Hatch. We mint all of your NFTs for you. All you have to provide us with is our CLI tool with your files and your metadata, and we generate the smart contracts entirely. There's no code touching on your end. We also automatically configure a public sale page for you guys, and you can customize everything about it, including your banner, your GIF, your Twitter links, your social media links, anything you want to host about it, completely up to you. And we also allow whitelisting for your loyal supporters, so you're able to give discounts and have total control of your sale, total autonomous. We do not touch any of that. So we're also working on a couple other things, including post-launch feedback and allowing you to airdrop things to your supporters, along with other analytics tools that allows you to help better generate your sales. You have better control, including Twitter API and Twitter analytics tools allowing you to grow your community better, and other types of things to allow faster launch and deployment for product management. So let's take a look at numbers. I like these numbers. So these are our revenue streams. So as I said, our first NFT collection, we were able to launch and sell for over $360K in less than 30 seconds. But that's not all. We've also gotten $25,000 of non-dilutive funding for Dfinity, which is the incorporation that created the ICP blockchain in general. And approximately every collection that's launched sells for an average of $300,000 currently. So if we take 5 to 10% of that, that can be upwards of $30,000 per collection on our launchpad. And that's infinitely scalable. So as long as that end keeps growing, we can keep on generating more and more profits. And lastly, we get secondary marketplace fees, which even as little as 1%. Right now, at our average market share, there's about like $1 million worth of ICP traded per month. So that can go upwards of like 10K per month, which is pretty solid. So what can we ask for you? Well, we're trying to get that N as great as possible. We want as many projects launched with us as possible. So if you guys are interested in launching or know any artists that are interested in launching, please reach out to us. You know, we can help you guys, and we've been through the process. We will allow you guys to be one of the first projects to launch with us and, you know, sell out your NFT easily without having to worry about the techno babble and code. So if you want to make over $300,000 in less than 30 seconds, be sure to hit me up. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Siddharth Thakur, and I'm with Firebot, where we are solving one of humanity's most dangerous and deadly issues through robotics. We created Firebot, every firefighter's best friend. 4 years ago, Stanley Wilson from Dallas Fire and Rescue was in a structural fire looking for human victims when he became trapped underneath a burning member. Struggling for air, vainly trying to signal to his teammates, he perished under the flames. Unfortunately, stories like this are not unique, reoccurring year after year around the world. In the United States, structural fires are very common, with over 480,000 occurring last year. This equates to about 1 every 65 seconds. Not only that, structural fires are especially deadly for civilians. On top of this, structural fires are specifically dangerous for firefighters. Firefighters are required to search all burning buildings for signs of human life, leading them to be placed in incredibly life-threatening situations on a day-to-day basis. Firefighters can get stuck, lost in debris, trapped, or run out of air like Stanley Wilson, leading to tens of thousands of injuries, hundreds of casualties over the last years, and thousands of hazardous material exposures, not to mention lifelong health illnesses such as cancer. U.S. fire departments pay the price, paying over $2 billion every year as a result of these injuries. Firefighters have faced these issues for years and have not seen any solution developed, until Firebot. Motivated by stories like Stanley Wilson, we decided to create a solution for firefighters across the world. Firebot is the world's first high-temperature resistant robot that can be deployed wirelessly into burning buildings to efficiently look for signs of human life and identify any dangerous situation without firefighters having to physically enter burning buildings and risk their lives. Firebot does this through a novel combination of technologies. Firstly, it is smart and provides the real-time transmission of data from inside the flames to the firefighter outside, giving them real-time information to make decisions in the heat of the battle. It's also adaptable and can climb stair and debris inside a burning, chaotic situation. It's modular and fast, moving at 2 times the speed of a firefighter wearing full personal protective equipment. However, most importantly, it's rugged and reliable and can last 6 times as long as a firefighter can and 1,000 degrees Celsius. Firefighters will perish in these high temperatures, but Firebot can do it. More importantly, at the ground level, Firebot can last for an hour in these temperatures, more than enough time to search a large commercial structure. Right now, no product exists that matches Firebot's capabilities. All other firefighting robots are large, expensive tanks that cost $500,000 and haven't even made over 2 sales in the past 10 years. Fire departments can't afford these solutions, and they can't even enter the fire itself. Firebot is the first solution that can actually enter a burning building and keep firefighters safe. We want to help firefighters mitigate risks in their everyday job. The future with Firebot is simple. At a scene of a fire, firefighters deploy the Firebot and remotely control it into the structure using a dashboard and joystick. Then, they navigate it through the building looking for victims and identifying any dangerous situation. If they find an unconscious victim, they can use the GPS map and the 3D map to quickly find the victim and take them to safety. If the victim is conscious, firefighters can use the 2-way speaker to communicate with the victim and tell them, "Stay safe, help is on the way." This way, firefighters mitigate risks to victims and actually rescue them even more quickly. The Firebot's impact is massive. Not only will it mitigate tens of thousands of injuries, dozens of lives, and reduce lifelong health illnesses such as cancer, but it will also save U.S. fire departments billions of dollars every year. According to the National Fire Protection Agency's Smart Research Roadmap, a document detailing investments needed by U.S. fire departments, investments like Firebot are a medium investment, high reward market that is a necessity for fire departments to be invested in today. While we will initially target fire departments, we are scaling to manufacturing and industrial facilities who can use Firebot to mitigate risks in dangerous situations, and eventually to insurance companies who pay for the damages wrought by these dangerous situations. The market for firefighting, while it starts with Austin, targeting 48 firefighters, is at $9 million. Eventually, we can scale to the US with 55 fire stations and a market size of over $10 billion. The industrial market is much larger. While we initially will target Texas chemical facilities with a market size of $200 million, it scales even more rapidly with over $27 billion in available facilities. Our revenue model is simple and gives firefighters the confidence and freedom they need to actually tackle the flames itself through 24/7 servicing, training, and replacement robots through a monthly subscription fee of $6,000 for a base and $10,000 for a tier 2. This gives a return on investment that is very high, an incentive for fire stations who can't afford high costs of robots, as well as a 6-month payback period for us. We have significant traction, having worked with over 16 fire departments across the US, getting validation, feedback, and understanding this issue thoroughly. We also have several beta testers in the Austin area and Texas region, working with them to test Firebot in the flames and situational tests so that we know Firebot meets the capabilities of our customers. Firebot is innovation that excites. Having won over 20 national competitions, it's a nationally recognized innovation. Just last week, we won the I2P competition. We are also recognized by the media across Texas area, and we have several strategic partners who have given us the capabilities to scale our product. For right now, we've worked on this product for about 4 years, having built several versions of the Firebot. Right now, we're building out our next version and are conducting thorough tests of it with different firefighters. We're hoping to reach 100 fire departments over the summer and secure 50 letters of interest in order to accelerate our version and deploy it nationally and regionally. Thus, we are seeking connections to federal grants, awards, and municipal governments in order to meet more fire departments and secure funding in order to develop our next version. We are a diverse, ambitious team that combines over 40 years of a plethora of experiences working with Lockheed Martin, NASA, JPL, and other Department of State programs, giving us the experience and knowledge we need to actually craft this complex solution to this very difficult problem. And we are supported by a large board of technical advisors, from firefighters and professors to business advisors who give us the knowledge we need to scale and grow. Thank you so much. Together we can keep our firefighters and our brave heroes safe. Please reach out to us at thefirebot.com or email me here. Thank you.
Those would be the best memories. I just wanna let it go for the night. That would be the best.
All right, hello guys. My name is Madeline Montgomery. I'm a senior business student at UT, and my company is Orally. I've always had a difficult time finding meaningful gifts for my loved ones when holidays, birthdays, and other celebrations roll around. After complaining about this so-called gifting anxiety to my friends, I realized I wasn't alone. In fact, let's do a little game here. Did you know Mother's Day was 1 week away? For my fellow procrastinators here in the room, that probably gives you a bit of gifting anxiety as well. I mean, after all, it is so difficult to find gifts for those we love most that convey both sentiment and practicality. So it was these mindsets I had in mind, and while I was actually living abroad, stuck in COVID lockdown in the middle of winter in a foreign country, kind of had the perfect atmosphere to work on this. So I've always loved jewelry because, unlike so much else of what we own, it's something you can truly wear every day to express yourself, remember important events, and show your appreciation for others. I mean, think class rings, wedding bands, it goes on throughout history. So I wanted to play with this relationship we had with our jewelry and make this connection we have with our jewelry come to life. So after months of researching technologies, developing prototypes, and eventually securing a manufacturer, the Orally necklace was born. This necklace holds your memories that you can access at any time with the tap of your phone. It uses the same native technology on your phone as Apple Pay and other contactless payments. So let's get back to Mother's Day. Let's say I want to give my mom her necklace as a gift. All I do is take the Orally necklace, and using our free app, the Orally Creator, I can add a variety of content to the necklace. For example, her necklace could show a photo of us together, it could even FaceTime me or map to her favorite location, which is Lake Travis. It's the perfect gift, and now on Mother's Day, she not only receives a beautiful piece of jewelry that she can wear, every time she taps it with her phone, no apps needed because it's that native technology, she'll have a piece of our relationship together on it. So as you can imagine, most people in this room have probably bought a gift at one time or another. It's a pretty big industry in the US, worth almost $2 trillion in fact. On average, for every $10 the American spends, $1 of that is actually going on a gift for someone else. Within this industry, we see really strong tendencies towards both personalized gifts and jewelry, and within this market, increasingly social media is becoming a key source of inspiration in finding gift ideas, and this is even more true among younger generations. So right now, we're selling our necklaces for $95 in gold and silver. We have a higher than industry average margin, and we're selling primarily on our website, orally.com. However, later this month, we are also going to expand our sales channels to Etsy and Instagram Shop in order to reach more customers. In order to reach kind of our target market of Gen Z, Gen Y, and millennials, we're gonna be focusing primarily on social media marketing. We're going to accomplish this through organic content creation on Instagram and TikTok, influencer partnerships to grow our brand recognition, and also strategic advertising on Instagram and Etsy. We know that this is the right strategy based off the past performance of our competitors. These two brands, Wear Felicity and Evermay, have unique jewelry items in the sentimental jewelry space that kind of have a similar market as ours. They've achieved great success so far, primarily through social media campaigns. I don't know if you can see from there, but their TikTok numbers are very high, and they found a way to reach their customers in this innovative new video platform. So actually, both brands have had to shut down taking orders for periods of time due to too high of a demand after a couple of successful videos. This is a really great indicator for us at Orally. This started buzzing, okay. This is a really great indicator for us at Orally because our necklaces not only offer significantly more capabilities, you can store a wide variety of content on the necklace from photos, videos, music, and so on. We also are targeting more customers besides just romantic relationships as these two brands have. Additionally, we offer a more gender-neutral design to appeal to both men and women. So since launching 3 months ago with our initial order of 400 necklaces, we've achieved, today it's actually 30 sales, thank you to those who purchased. And actually, pretty much most of our marketing has been through a couple of in-person events, so we haven't really kicked that up yet, and so I think that's pretty impressive sales so far for the efforts we've had. Our customers are very happy so far, and we have high engagement across our social media platforms. As I look towards the future, I'm super excited to be graduating in 3 weeks, where I will join my co-founder overseas, and we are going to be focusing full-time on Orally and our other venture in the tourism space. In the short term, we're going to be focusing primarily on content marketing. As I mentioned, social media is very important to us to reach our target customer, especially based off these past competitors. So we're gonna be focusing on that. And also, I've been talking to some UX designers at UT about launching an innovative new app that will allow our users to upload multiple pieces of content and interact with them in a unique way, such as, for instance, they could have a globe where they could add different locations of where they've been. I'm a bit biased because I love traveling. Or also a timeline because you can add significant events of a relationship with someone. So maybe the day you met someone, your first date, a photo, so on. And so it'll add to this user experience from a digital perspective. And this is also great because everyone who's currently bought a necklace will be able to benefit from this update. As we enter the fall, also I forgot to mention, we will be participating this summer in the Blackstone Future Founders Program, and I also just received a $10,000 grant today, which will help fund the development of this app, which I'm super excited about. As we enter the fall, we're going to be launching a new product line bracelet to be more inclusive of men with our offerings. Yeah, we offer a very international team. We also have a very strong network of advisors. I see a couple of you guys here. Very much appreciate all the help we've gotten along the way with that. And as I mentioned, if you are still looking for that perfect Mother's Day gift or any special holidays coming up, feel free to scan the QR code and buy a necklace. I'm doing a special promotion of $10 off for today. Use the code Longhorn Startup and I'll be available after the competition with the necklaces. With the prize money of this, or with the $25,000 investment of this competition, we would be able to fast lane our marketing efforts, launch this innovative new app, and launch this product targeted more at men. I'm extremely passionate about Orally, and I'm betting on myself and this venture with my postgraduate plans. With your help, we can empower more people to connect to their life experiences and loved ones through the jewelry that they wear every day. Thank you.
All right, hi, my name is Joan Liao, and I'm the founder of Kelp. And we provide another more sustainable beef alternative to the environmentally friendly consumer. And so, all right, before we begin, let me ask you this. What do you see here? And yes, you might be right, or you're actually right. That's a cow farting, but you know what's worse than this? What's worse from this than just the smell? Well, it's the methane emissions produced from this. And currently, the cattle industry accounts for 14% of total greenhouse gas emissions, and it hasn't been addressed. And so, and more stats. And so that means that there's 5.5 million metric tons of methane that are released every year from the 98.5 million cows in the US alone. And that means that each cow produces an average of 182.5 liters of methane every year, which, if we put it into perspective, it's similar to the same amount of carbon emissions as a small vehicle. And here's where we come in. We provide seaweed supplemented beef that is able to reduce their methane emissions by over 70%, and we also are able to educate on the final consumer on the impact of the carbon emissions they were able to reduce. At the same time, also providing a higher nutritional content by delivering a higher protein and mineral value. And at the same time, being more affordable and impactful than other plant-based meats. And so the mechanism behind why we supplement seaweed to our beef is that seaweed, it contains a compound or a lot of bromoform, and this compound pretty much inhibits the hydrogen and carbon dioxide from bonding in the cow's rumen, and which in turn prevents the methane from being produced. And so a little bit of the market overview. So the US beef market was valued at $83.5 billion in the year of 2020, despite the rise of the pandemic, and 4% of those sales were comprised of grass-fed beef. And clearly, this is a huge opportunity for us to tap into. And so our target customer is the eco-friendly, environmentally aware beef consumer. And you might be surprised that according to research, 19% of meat consumers are actually taking significant action to make adjustments in their diet to reflect their eco-friendly mindset. And so our revenue model is that we are an e-commerce platform, and so we sell directly to the consumer our beef that is sourced locally from farms that have supplemented their cows with seaweed. And a significant portion of our profit will also go back to the local farms, that is in order to incentivize their humane and organic practices. And here's an overview of the unit cost, but the main takeaway from this is that we are able to afford to support back to our community through by giving back to these local farms. And so here are some of our advantages, and the main one is that we're local and we're more affordable, and the most important of all is that we are able to effectively reduce methane, which none of the mainstream brands or any brands at all has been able to do at a large scale or even start at all. And so here's our team, and we're definitely passionate about this, and we're planning on taking this project to the next level in order to make a significant impact in the environment. And so I ask you to take action and join us on our fight against the global warming. That is by signing up on our website and supporting our next product launch. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Zach Schul, and I'm here to tell you about Prometheus. We are building a plastic surgery visualization platform to help solve cosmetic surgeons' #1 problem, efficiently converting potential patients into paying patients. See, it is common for people who are trying to get cosmetic surgery to shop around and go to multiple consultations with multiple doctors. By definition, this is why surgeons have a low conversion rate. One of the main reasons for this is that patients do not consistently feel like the surgeons are on the same page as them. For context, the average plastic surgeon's conversion rate is around 35%, and each consultation can be between 30 minutes to an hour and a half. We have found that this is extremely annoying for plastic surgeons, as they spend 40% of their time doing these consultations, and these consultations are non-revenue driving. Here's our product. So we're putting an affordable and precise full-body 3D scanner that can scan a person's whole body in around 1 minute. For most operations, the patient may only want to do a semi-spot scan of the region she or he is having the procedure on, and this is totally fine. We use a multimodal approach of structured light as well as photogrammetry with statistical human denoising to respectfully create precise volumetric and color of our 3D scans. On the UI UX side, we're building a visualization platform that surgeons can provide to potential patients so that they can easily visualize of what they want to look at like after the procedure. Part of this platform is an easy to navigate, patient-oriented user portal that enables patients to perform one-click augmentations. Put it simply, this allows for people to swipe a template nose onto their face. Here's some 2D visuals. On the left, you can see the retopologized mesh for the woman's nose. And on the bottom right is an example of a 3D face mesh. So how effective is visualization? Well, from studies published by our competitors, it has been reported that surgeons who utilize 3D visualization have a median conversion rate of 85%, which is more than double of the actual rate for all surgeons. Our pricing model. We're currently charging surgeons, plastic surgeons, nothing for a physical device, which we can make for $2,000 at scale. We plan to make our revenue through subscription licensing of our software that surgeons lend to their patients. Here's an overview of the ARR of the plastic surgery industry. We are predominantly targeting new surgeons and surgeons that have low conversion rates due to them being a better fit for our product. Competitors. We have 2 competitors, Canfield and Cryslix. Canfield also creates high-fidelity 3D scans. However, their full body scanning device costs around $500,000 and is the size of a small room. On the other hand, Cryslix doesn't have a physical 3D scanning machinery as they just use an iPad and an attachment. However, this is not popular in the US due to the scans not being very precise. What sets us apart? Other than the 2 things depicted here, our product also saves the surgeon time. Unlike our competitors, we let the patients drive the 3D augmentations instead of the surgeons. This enables the patient to explore different augmentations in their own time, like in the waiting room. Team. So yeah, again, I'm Zach Schul, and I'm a co-founder. My other co-founder is Alex Hahn. He's also in the same CS program as I am at UT. And we have a design partnership with Dr. Friedman from Westlake Dermatology. And how can you help us? Well, we're trying to get in contact with as many plastic surgeons as possible. It's very hard for us to contact them because their time is so valuable and it's very hard. Yeah. So we just need help talking with them. And if you have anybody that you can like share their contact with us or make a little bit of a warm introduction, that'd be super appreciative. Thank you guys for listening. Bye.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jim Pappas, and I'm the founder of LP Alpha. We make software for institutional investors like pension funds and university endowments. And ultimately, we're addressing pain points that I encountered in my 4 years at UTEMCO, the world's largest university endowment. So institutions are piling into private equity funds. When I started at UTEMCO in 2016, we were doing $500 million a year. Now they're doing $3 billion a year in private equity fund investments. And as they're doing more and more private equity, investors realize that they need better tools and processes to manage their investments. So in interviews with more than 100 institutions, we keyed in on 3 problems that software can address. First, as I'll talk about in a second, the track record information that is conveyed between, say, a buyout fund in New York and a pension fund comes in all shapes, sizes, and formats, and it's super tedious to analyze. We have a solution to this, and people are paying for it. Second, and similarly, the legal documents that accompany a private equity fund commitment are super complicated and difficult to analyze. We're going to provide a solution that makes that a lot easier. And then third, at the very bottom, the ways in which private equity funds and institutional investors meet each other, it's over 1950s technology, guys. It's cold telephone calls. We're going to use the data that we harness from our solutions to these first 2 problems to facilitate intelligent, data-driven matchmaking that's going to make the ecosystem so much better for everyone. So if a pension fund, say, meets with a venture capital fund tomorrow and it's a good intro meeting, they'll probably ask for that VC's track record after the meeting. And that track record is going to be conveyed, and it's going to be in one of a million kinds of formats, and it's going to be super tedious for whoever's working at the pension fund to analyze it. I have personally spent weeks of my life hacking through these files, and it is absolutely terrible. But here's what we did. We got a couple hundred examples of these files and coded a very complicated proprietary algorithm that recognizes any of them. So our users go into their LP Alpha portal, upload any manager's track record, and instantly receive comprehensive analysis like you see on the right-hand side of the page. We've got 4 institutions paying for the LP Alpha track record analyzer now, an average of about $7,000 a year, and $7,000 a year each, that is. And as you see from this quote, they absolutely love it. This is from the head of private equity at Children's Health, a North Texas endowment. She is basically telling everyone, she's a great evangelist, and she's telling everyone that our program has delivered a transformational improvement in her day-to-day job. It is making it much easier for her to screen and evaluate investment opportunities. There are different kinds of groups that invest in private equity funds. We're focused on the ones where you see the green boxes. That's endowments, foundations, and family offices. That's because these are groups that tend to do a lot of private equity relative to their portfolio size, and they also tend to be pretty thinly staffed. So our real main competition here is Microsoft Excel. That's how I used to do this work. That's how the vast majority of people do it these days. But surveys are showing more and more that people want to move out of Excel for critical investment processes because they recognize the deficiencies. There is one software vendor, it's a NASDAQ product called TopQ that provides track record analysis, but it's totally templatized, and you have to spend hours putting information into their template before getting outputs that are very similar to ours. Ours is so much easier to use. My right-hand guy alongside this journey has been Brian Chu. He's a recently graduated CS major at UT, and we're very fortunate to have an advisory board that comprises representation from the LP universe, the GP universe, as well as a software entrepreneur. We're also very lucky to have great mentors through the Longhorn Startup Lab. Very, very grateful to them. So we're raising $500,000. This will get us to the product suite that encompasses solutions to each of the 3 problems that we mentioned. I want you to come see me if you want to be a part of our journey as an investor, or if you happen to know any institutional investors that might be interested in initiating a free trial of our program. Let's work together to bring institutional investing and the trillions of dollars it manages into the 21st century. We can make society a lot better and make money doing it. Thank you.
I got burdens on my shoulders. If I fold, then they gon' stay. At the time, I pass the time just getting up and out the way. Use a dish, go do some music. Get my penny board and skate. Back when we was.
Hi, everyone. My name is Vin.
I'm Monsi, and we're the co-founders of Psyche. October 2019 was the first time in my life I ever sought therapy. Like most college students, I went to my university's mental health center. But after my first session, I just didn't feel any better. The following months of searching for a therapist on my own wore me down. Either I was denied because a therapist was full, they weren't a good fit for me, or the session was too expensive. Unfortunately, I'm not alone in this. The mental health of young adults has increasingly gotten worse over the last decade. A large majority of college students suffer from depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, or substance abuse. And tragically, this has led many experts to declare that the mental health of college students is at crisis level. And that's because young adults in today's age face unique challenges like academic stressors, the effects of social media, and loneliness and isolation due to the pandemic.
Now, the good news is that the perception of therapy as a mental health tool is changing, and that young adults are almost twice as likely now today to seek therapy. However, accessibility to therapy is still an issue. Therapist online directories are almost like yellow pages from 50 years ago, in that they aren't solving the problem of having to spend hours and hours on phone calls to book a single appointment. Then other students go straight to their university counseling centers. However, demand for therapy is so high today that these services, these centers, don't have access to long-term services for their students. And so these two factors together have led to over a third of students unsatisfied with their school resources, leaving many students alone to overcome the obstacles in this journey. Then on the other side, there are therapists in the United States are predominantly independent, and so there are thousands of practices looking for direct client referrals every day.
That's why Vin and I started Psyche, the first platform that helps college students find the right therapist for them. In the therapy world, Psyche is a matchmaker. We connect students and therapists by using a data-driven approach to predict a strong match. The flow of our service helps personalize and speed up the search process for students while also helping therapists find strong client leads. For example, if I'm looking for a female therapist who's good at treating panic attacks and takes Anthem insurance, I'd simply give my background, pick my favorite therapist, and book an appointment. That's it. In just 48 hours, I can find the right therapist for myself, whereas it took me months of time and energy to do on my own. And so far, students have loved using our service. We've been giving an average of 2 new clients per day in the past month and have gotten positive feedback. On the other hand, we've grown our network to more than 75 providers in the Austin area who love the direct access to this age group of clientele.
Now, we're confident going forward we'll be able to get new therapists in our directory. And the main reason is because our beachhead marketplace of LPC associates are eagerly looking for young client referrals, such as college students, offer more affordable rates, and are most up-to-date on current treatment methods. And our business creates value in 2 ways. Firstly, we partner and sell to universities that are looking to fill the gaps in their services and improve the student mental health. And then secondly, we're exploring a freemium model to allow therapists to test our service out for free and then later upgrade to being a preferred provider. Now, in terms of competition, because Psyche is embedded within university systems, we are uniquely positioned to be right at the place students are going to find a therapist. And then in terms of therapists, like I said earlier, over 90% are independently run, and so they're looking for direct client referrals, which we provide them. And now, in order to become the go-to therapist matching service across the country, we're starting to build this marketplace in Austin. And then from there, by partnering with UT Austin, we'll be able to more easily penetrate the rest of the UT system, spread across the state, and then utilize the brand awareness with one of the largest school systems in the country to expand nationwide.
And our team is incredibly dedicated to the work we do. We're all current or former students who are in the weeds of the issue we're trying to solve. We're looking to raise $500,000 to achieve the growth that we're chasing in the next 18 months. We'd appreciate any introductions to healthcare investors or connections to admin within university health departments. Therapy doesn't magically make mental health struggles go away, but it can be highly effective if people have access to it. 2 years ago, I struggled to find the right help, but today, you don't have to with Psyche. Let us find the right therapist for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm Amod, co-founder at Walkthrough, where we combat isolation among the elderly through immersive VR. Let's take a few steps back and see where all of this started. The idea for Walkthrough stemmed from a phone call between Cameron, one of our original co-founders, and his grandma, Katie, who at the time was 80-some years old and living on her own, when she expressed to him how much she loved to watch the History Channel, as it enabled her to feel like she could virtually go places that she otherwise wasn't able to travel. And this was an issue that hit very close to home. Like millions of Americans, I've got loved ones in long-term care. And I thought, wait a minute, if she can't explore the world around her, why not bring the world to her instead? And Grandma Katie certainly wasn't alone. With over 2.5 million seniors living in well over 46,000 long-term care facilities across the US, social isolation is a serious health risk for older adults. In fact, a new UCSF study found there's a 59% greater risk of physical and mental decline in older adults linked to social isolation. And meanwhile, the US is experiencing a huge population shift, as 10,000 people will pass the age of 65 every day for the next 10 years, which is why the Census Bureau projects that seniors are going to become the single largest population segment in the US by 2035. This increase in demand, coupled with the pandemic, has created a nightmare scenario for activity directors and community operators alike. In fact, new NCBI studies find nearly 50% of seniors report depressive symptoms, with another 1 in 3 reporting increased anxiety and depression linked to social isolation. As a result, health, and conversely, the social wellness for this booming population of older adults represents a major growth opportunity. In fact, the AARP found just last year, 81% of seniors are now equipped with smartphones and tablets, which is why communities are increasingly seeking new and tech-focused solutions. That's exactly where Walkthrough comes in. At its core, Walkthrough is a one-of-a-kind VR streaming platform built out entirely for long-term care facilities. In other words, we're Netflix for VR and for old people. We've partnered up with over 90 creators and studios across 15 countries, sourcing hundreds of top-notch VR tours, enabling folks in nursing homes to do everything from virtually touring the Louvre to exploring the Amazon rainforest. And we're already gaining traction. We currently operate in 12 communities and chains and have impacted over 5,000 seniors since launch, in addition to placing an emphasis on research through an ongoing partnership with MITRE and the Federal VA Center for Enterprise Modernization to look at the effects of using Walkthrough VR in emotional and cognitive well-being in various population segments. We have 2 main customer groups, including seniors living at home and individual retirement communities, which is what we're currently focused on. Our end users and customers include the community operators and activity directors in retirement homes that are looking to utilize Walkthrough to keep their residents happy, healthy, and entertained. We have a simple subscription pricing model, with our introductory pricing bringing in about $100 per month per client, and this provides them access to the VR streaming platform in addition to any other resources that we provide to the retirement communities. So let's take a closer look at the competitive market. Unlike off-the-shelf VR headsets, Walkthrough is designed entirely for older adults. With a lot of companies focusing on youth and gaming audiences, UIs are oftentimes too complex and confusing. We've got 3 main competitors, including MindVR, Embodied Labs, and Rendeavor. While Embodied Labs primarily uses VR for job and professional training, the other competitors leverage them in similar ways. Unlike the competition, however, which is restricted to their own native hardware and softwares, oftentimes restricting users to bulky VR headsets that require staff to operate in addition to steep rental costs, our position as a streaming platform allows our users to stream hundreds of VR tours, more than any of our competitors, at a fraction of the cost, anytime, anywhere. In fact, we went a step further and found that most retirement communities that use other solutions on the market have one common complaint, which is that when they get the VR headsets, no matter how cool the technology is, they don't know what to do with it. It just sits on a shelf and collects dust, which is why we provide activity guides and booklets to all of our communities with different ideas and inspiration for events they can have in their community based on things that communities have actually done with Walkthrough, which is why to date we can boast a 100% user retention rate. So let's take a closer look at the team behind the product. Blake Reed is my COO based out of Georgia Tech, and together we've assembled a great team of experts, including people like Dr. Smits, a clinical psychologist at UT focusing on VR exposure therapy content on our platform, and Tina Bertelli, a certified dementia care practitioner with over 20 years of experience that actually used to work at one of our client communities and now is a full-time member of our team. Looking to our immediate priorities in the next 6 months, we intend to complete the rollout of our V2 platform, begin R&D this summer, and begin development of our V3 platform by the end of this year. Specifically, we're looking to raise $200,000, of which $36,000 will go towards extending our runway to the end of Q4 at the end of this year. That'll allow us to go from 12 communities right now to over 30 communities and increasing our total user base by over 6,000 daily active users. The rest of the money will go into therapeutics R&D this summer with MITRE and the development of our V3 platform. So thanks for your time, and feel free to get in touch at walkthrough.live.
Welcome to Reader, a platform. Welcome to Reader, a platform that turns any reading material into a high-quality and interactive audiobook.
My name is Malcolm. We are trained professionally cloned voices made by Reader. We are trying to help change the educational world through audio.
Now, sit back, relax, and watch reading be reimagined.
Meet Jack and Zach, two seniors in college who have been best friends since the 6th grade. Separately, yet together, they have been battling with dyslexia and ADHD since they were born. Growing up, they fought alongside each other to overcome what is really hard for them, reading. They would read out loud to each other. They'd read to themselves. Even their parents tried reading to them. They tried everything. To many, reading may be easy, but for Jack and Zach, it is not. And they're actually not alone. As students in college, we get lots of things thrown our way, and our inability to read makes it really hard to keep up with other students in our class. One day, I discovered text-to-speech. Text-to-speech almost changed my life. I tried using it to read my homeworks, my emails, my textbooks, but every single text-to-speech platform had major limitations. They were not intuitive to use. The tones and connotations were off, and they were simply just hard to understand. So, we built our own software. Introducing Reader. Reader turns any text into speech, but with such high-quality voices that it's almost impossible to distinguish our voices from real people. We are offering such a diverse amount of readers because we want all of our students to have voices worth listening to. Listen to a cowboy read you your Western book. Let a northerner read you the morning paper. Or even let someone with a Spanish accent read you your Spanish textbook. Reader has it all. Our goal and mission is to never let reading be what stands in our students' way of success. That is why we created Reader, to help the Jack and the Zacks of the world read better. As we just launched, we are now capable of turning any amount of text into speech. Simply create an account, copy and paste over your text, and within seconds, your new high-quality reading is ready to go. But this is just the beginning. Text-to-speech platforms have been available for a while now. Companies like Speechify, Natural Readers, and Learning Ally have created student-friendly platforms but have such robotic voices that it's really hard to listen to for long periods of time. Companies like Microsoft, Google, and Amazon have created solid voices, but they have no connection to the education industry, and they have no desire to do so. Reader is combining both. We want to appeal to all students by offering the highest quality voices, but by also being a very student-friendly platform. Customers who are using these platforms are leaving reviews everywhere, saying they're unhappy and they're looking for better and new text-to-speech alternatives. These companies are using fast and cheap technologies to create their voices, which results in unrealistic and unoriginal voices. These companies are too expensive for many students to use, and many students feel that these platforms are just not student-friendly. And that is where we come in. Here at Reader, we are training each one of our voices for 5 to 8 hours using artificial intelligence deep learning to create high-quality synthetic voices that naturally mimic the pitch, tone, and pace of a real human. This requires extensive amounts of code, which results in voices that sound just like real humans. Our competitors have not been able to unlock this perk, which gives us a huge competitive advantage. Studies have proven real voices increase the retention, comprehension, and the ability to listen for long periods of time without getting bored. This is exactly what our students want and they need. We believe that all students should succeed regardless of wealth. That is why we are always offering affordable options to every student in the world. We have researched with dozens of students, teachers, and parents to get user feedback. This has allowed us to create the best possible software that we can incorporate into our students' daily lives. Our market is huge. With 15.9 million students in the United States who are suffering from learning disabilities and reading comprehension, we realized change must be made. Think about this. That is 1/5 of all students. That is a lot of Jack and Zacks. With so many plans and visions, we know it is needed to help change our students' lives. We have 2 business models. One for individual students, which ranges from $10 to $40 a month, and one for institutions such as schools and universities, which costs $8 a student a month. With the total addressable market at $1.7 billion, within our first 5 years, we are projecting to make $17 million in yearly revenue. 5 years after this, we will be tripling that. Our team is made up of 2 students making a website for other students. With strong backgrounds in business and computer science, we make up a team that knows how to conquer the internet. We were knee-deep in a problem that we saw needed to change. That is why we are working together to help solve such a common issue for so many students. In this investment round, we are looking to launch in Austin, Texas, at 7 high schools and 3 colleges in order to get user and customer feedback. By the end of the year, we plan on getting our first 5,000 users on the platform, as well as $60,000 in revenue. We are looking to raise $100,000 to help grow our team internally and externally. With this money, we will bring on 2 software developers, and by December of 2022, we will create a classroom feature, a drag and drop feature, and a feature that turns any pictures into a high quality narration. This is exactly what our students are looking for and need. Wow. Having learning disabilities and reading comprehension is not a bad thing. It's a gift. Our minds work differently in the most amazing and creative ways. Your investment will not only help change millions of lives, but it may help discover and unlock the next Albert Einstein, Steve Jobs, or Walt Disney, among the few heroes with dyslexia who have changed the world. For the past few months, we've been working really hard to make the best version we can. And now, you could use it too. So, for the college student who wasn't able to finish the reading and wants to listen to it on the way to class, or for the working professional who has a long commute and wants to get work done while in the car, or for the 10-year-old student with learning disabilities who is sitting in the back of the class just trying to follow along, like Jack and I, try out Reader. We have made it for you. Now, reading won't hold you back.
Hi everyone, I'm Isha Dewan, founder of Vibeview. Vibeview is a platform for on-demand virtual neighborhood tours. So think TaskRabbit, but for real estate and city exploration. Now, I want you to imagine you're moving to a brand new city that you don't know much about. There are 2 key things that you care about: the interior of a property, as well as the exterior and the neighborhood. Now, of course, you can read about the information about these things online, but sometimes you just need the comfort of seeing it for yourself, which is why 3D walkthroughs and video showings have become a valuable complement to knowing the number of beds and baths and the square footage of a home. However, although there are virtual solutions available to see the interior of a home, there is no existing platform that allows you to see the neighborhood without having to physically be present. Now, you could use Google Street View, but the only thing that's provided is a static 360 photo, so you can't really get the feel of the area, and oftentimes these photos are taken months, if not years prior. Your other option is an in-person visit, but these can be costly. You may have to take up a lot of time off of work, and in competitive markets where listing turnarounds are quick, it's oftentimes not a feasible option. You're left wishing that you just had a friend in the city who could be your local eyes and ears. That's where we come in. With Vibeview, users are able to enter in properties they're interested in looking at, as well as other locations they'd like to see. That order is matched with a local Viber who will go out and curate a video tour for them based on their inputs, and that tour is available to see on our easy-to-navigate geotagged mapping platform. Video tours are filmed within 1 to 2 days of placing an order, so you know they're up to date. Video footage is able to capture dynamic content, so you can actually see the vibe of the area, hence our name. And our open-ended and human-centric model allows for a lot of customization. So you can order things to see the commute to work and the traffic along that way, as well as seeing the drop-off line at your kid's school. Additionally, tours come with comparative data and insights, which will eventually grow to also encompass historical trends in the neighborhood so that we can become the Carfax of neighborhoods. Now, why does this matter? The quality of the neighborhood is ranked as the #1 most influential factor in choosing where to live. And it's also ranked as the quality on which buyers are least willing to compromise on. So it's clear that people care about their neighborhoods. But why does this all of a sudden matter now? In recent years, we've seen a huge increase in the use of technology in real estate, largely driven by the impact of the recent pandemic. There's been a 484% increase in requests for video home tours, and 63% of home buyers last year made at least one offer on a property that they had never visited in person. Now, moving is not a high-frequency business. Most people only move a few times in their life. So Vibeview's revenue stream doesn't just end at the neighborhood tour. We provide a concierge service that allows us to get money at each step of the revenue process through referral fees. So from preparing financing finding agents, going through closing due diligence, and even making the big move, we make a cut at every step of the moving process by partnering with mortgage brokerages, real estate agencies, moving companies, and more. Our partners work with us because real estate is a largely local business. So instead of competing in the same local market for those same leads, we provide direct access to brand new leads that have less competition. We also match users when they're actually ready for that step of the moving process, so the leads are higher intent. And users ordering neighborhood tours are less likely to know people in the area, so they're more receptive to these new referrals. Our total addressable market, looking at all US movers, comes out to $11.6 billion. And when narrowed down by relevant demographics to technology adoption, the sight unseen trends, and key geographic areas, we get a serviceable, obtainable market of $2.7 billion. Vibeview also services the commercial real estate industry. So in addition to providing neighborhood tours for out-of-town investors, our platform is also repurposed as a presentation tool for aggregating and displaying information, data, and media pertaining to properties and portfolios to facilitate a new generation in information sharing within the following three verticals. Currently, we are in the later stages of the sales process with Colliers for investment sales, and in the early stages of the sales process with JLL for tenant advisory. And the numbers you see up on the screen represent our risk-adjusted annual sales pipeline for these firms' local offices. The Vibeview team is small but strong. In addition to myself, William Dorak will be joining in the next week as a software engineer and technical consultant. He is an ex-Google engineer and also has a lot of startup experience, so he really knows how to take Vibeview's technology to the next level. We also have Krishna Parekh as an advisor. She founded a company also in the prop tech space that went through the Y Combinator Accelerator program and also has experience in real estate venture capital. So she really knows the ins and outs of the business and can help guide decision making. Vibeview will begin raising our first round of funding in late summer, so if you're interested in getting in early to that round or just learning more, please feel free to contact us at info@thevibeview.com. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jake Yarkin, and I'm a co-founder of Storm, the decentralized NFT marketplace built for the community by the community. As you've probably seen, the NFT industry absolutely exploded last year. Here's some stats to put that into perspective. Just this past March alone, there were over $2 billion in total sales volume. Back in early 2021, my co-founder Thad and I set out to create a decentralized NFT marketplace. The key issue that we saw with top marketplaces is that they were centralized, not taking advantage of the real benefits offered by the innovations of Web3. They didn't engage with their communities on the same level that other successful decentralized Web3 projects did, and as a result, we've seen a lot of negative sentiment towards these top marketplaces. Some of this has come from security threats, with multiple high-level breaches happening, censorship, where these centralized platforms try to decide what should and shouldn't be allowed on their platform and have even frozen people's assets, and with economic misalignment, where these top marketplaces, these centralized marketplaces, act in their own best interest, trying to maximize their own profits, rather than acting in the best interests of their users. So meet Storm. Storm is a decentralized NFT marketplace that takes advantage of its biggest asset, the community. Storm is governed by the community, meaning that governance token holders actually get to propose and vote on important future platform decisions. On top of this, 100% of the platform revenues are redistributed back to the community. Rather than users just being customers, they actually become the community that governs the platform, so the values and incentives are aligned. Unlike top centralized marketplaces, you get rewards just for buying or selling an NFT on our platform. These rewards are governance tokens, which you can then use to earn your share of the platform revenues in Ethereum. Our collection of community-first features are unlike anything else in the NFT space. We have messaging, so you can actually message and negotiate with other NFT owners. You can also trade your own NFTs for other NFTs, rather than just buying NFTs with crypto. We also have collection offers, which is a much more efficient way of making an offer on a group of NFTs. And while you're doing all this, you're gonna save a bunch of Ethereum on gas fees because we're using the latest and greatest tech. As you can see, the vast majority of the tokens will be distributed to the community over time, primarily through trading and staking rewards. The treasury tokens will finance our growth, collecting Ethereum over time from transaction fees. Not only is Storm decentralized, but we're also a market leader in transaction fees, gas savings, and rewards for buying and selling. And we're the only platform with the NFT trading capability. To introduce the rest of my team, Thad Hutchison, my co-founder, handles the smart contract development for the platform. He went from not knowing how to code a year ago to becoming an expert Solidity developer, mostly by teaching himself, which is incredibly impressive, and he's built out this cutting-edge platform. Sam Ullman is our front-end developer, and he's done an amazing job of turning our ideas into a functioning, user-friendly platform. Just over a month ago, we brought on Brandon Hampton, who brings a tremendous amount of experience in the space, having already launched several projects, and he'll be leading our marketing efforts. And finally, I'm extremely excited to announce that just recently, we were able to acquire the domain storm.com. Thank you, thank you. This acquisition will give our project immediate name brand recognition to launch, and it'll be an incredibly valuable asset long term. We're all incredibly excited. And finally, please everyone take out your phones and scan this QR code. I want all of you to be among the first members of our community. Join the wait list and be a part of Storm, the decentralized NFT marketplace built for the community, by the community. Thank you.
I got a feeling that tonight's gonna be a good.
Hey, how's it going? Hi, so my name is Jatin Kumar, and I'm a founder of Bonsai. So essentially, today, we can access information simply through a quick Google search. But at the enterprise level, accessing information is still cluttered and scattered. In fact, an employee spends about 42% of their workday trying to just access the right information. So this can lead, on the bottom line, to missed opportunities as well as frustrated employees and customers. Introducing Bonsai. Bonsai is the fastest growing scalable enterprise solution for knowledge distribution. Right now, we're focused on customer engagement and sales. And we'll soon be transitioning into internal-based questions for HR, recruiting, onboarding, and legal. So with one click, Bonsai can traverse across an entire knowledge base, looking for answers and rapidly solving cases. Right now, we've integrated with leading CRM tools such as HubSpot, Salesforce, Zendesk, and Freshworks. We aggregate the ticket data from these platforms, and then leveraging Bonsai's proprietary AI, we can rapidly solve cases within seconds. In fact, right now with the customers onboarded on our platform, we can take an average customer satisfaction rating from 76% all the way to 98%. So let's talk about a few other metrics. So the impact we've had on our companies has been truly inspirational. Right now, we're triaging and solving 120 tickets per hour, as well as we can take a super complicated ticket that would have naturally taken about 20 minutes to solve down to 20 seconds. And then we're scalable at a fraction of the cost, as well as we're designed for high demand and high traffic. So we're currently targeting the customer engagement market with a total TAM of about $1.4 billion. And then we'll soon be transitioning into the enterprise productivity market with a total TAM of $3.6 billion. And our pricing strategy is a B2B subscription where on our enterprise level plan, we're charging $1,200 a month per seat. And then Bonsai can scale across a few different verticals. Right now we're focused on e-commerce, SaaS, as well as fintech. Bonsai blows the competition out of the water with our rich feature set as well as our human-centric approach. So integration time. with us only takes a few minutes compared to our competitors, which take a few hours or even days. We allow our clients to easily drag and drop their entire knowledge base, and that can also be unstructured as well. So we allow YouTube videos, documents, PDFs, or even blogs. Let's talk about three main areas. Transfer learning. Essentially, Bonsai can learn based off past ticket data as well as future ticket data, meaning that Bonsai actively gets smarter with every single ticket solved, as well as we can tailor our responses to your company's messaging as well as branding. We are also the first company, or one of the first companies, to do auto-generated macros. And so what this means is essentially we can analyze whenever a human agent manually responds to a question, and then we can generate a universal template. So in the future, when you receive a similar question, we can easily answer that within seconds. And at about 3,000 tickets, Bonsai will have solved about 3/4 of future tickets before a customer even has a chance to ask that question. Right now, we have about $10,000 in monthly recurring revenue, and we've done that with zero to minimal marketing, as well as mentioned, our breakout verticals right now are in fintech, e-commerce, and SaaS. So we've partnered up with a few different accelerator programs and incubator programs, such as New Chip, Sputnik ATX, Dorm Room Fund, just to name a few, and our projected deal flow is $900,000, as well as the impact that we've made is we've been able to increase ticket response times by over 30%. Right now, we're talking with the United States Air Force and securing a $1.1 million contract with them, which is a SBIR 2 contract, as well as we've raised $150,000 in pre-seed capital with Sputnik ATX, as well as $50,000 in non-dilutive funding. We've placed first place at Angel Hack Demo Day, Disrupt Texas, and the Big Idea Competition, just to name a few. And we've also been featured across different media and news outlets, such as Good Morning America. So the team has been phenomenal, and we truly are the team to take Bonsai's vision forward. Shashank, myself, and Pertivi all have research experience at places such as MIT's Lincoln Laboratories, Cornell, and UT Austin, as well as have worked at Fortune 500 companies such as Google, Amazon, and a few others. And we couldn't have gotten to where we are without the help of some amazing people. Currently, we're raising $500,000, which will allow us to hit 4x user growth within 8 months, and then 7% week-on-week growth after 6 months. And we're also going to be using the money to build out our enterprise sales team as well. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, well, let's give one more big round of applause for all the teams that presented. And all that's really left is to announce who the winner is, who gets the $25,000. So as you can imagine, it's a really tough decision. We have a lot of great companies here, and they've made some incredible progress over the semester, as I'm sure you can probably imagine. And quite honestly, as has happened before, I wouldn't be surprised if Capital Factory ends up investing in more than one of these companies, even past what happens tonight. But we have to pick just one tonight. And so, did Remy make it back in here? Did I see her? Is she still on her way back? We might not. Oh, there we go. Perfect timing. There we go. Remy's just coming in. So Remy's got a really big check. Thank you so much. And with that, I'm super excited to award the $25,000 for today to Storm. Congratulations. Can we get somebody to take a picture for us up here? There we go. Abigail. Awesome. So congratulations. And I'd love to invite all the students that pitched up here for one more quick photo. If you guys want to come up on stage, all the students from the class. And then the bar will be open for a little bit longer, and we'd encourage you to all come talk to all the teams. Everybody come on up. Stay in the middle. There we go. Yeah, keep it up. That's good. Keep it. All right, let me know we got everybody up here. Squeeze in, come on over. Come this way, come this way, come this way. All right, everybody give them all a round of applause. All right, we're totally putting you to work, Abigail. Thank you. All right, thanks everybody.